but I want to start with Greece and the United States, because a lot of the articles that I've been reading in the not so much in places like the Financial Times or whatnot, but many blog posts and things like this, and some of the calls that we've gotten, and just people I know, I mean, indicate I have drawn the conclusion that most Americans don't understand why Greece is in trouble and why Mississippi is not. So, this is the fatal flaw in the Eurozone, and it's why I see the euro now. Keep in mind, the Eurozone and the European Union are different things. Most people don't know that. I frankly didn't know that until a few months ago. The European Union is a group of states, a group of nations that got together and said, we're going to eliminate all trade barriers, sort of like NAFTA, the Canada, Mexico, and the United States. We're going to eliminate all trade barriers, and we're going to eliminate national boundaries in terms of people, in terms of immigration. Now, we did not go that far with NAFTA. We did not say, hey, anybody in Mexico who wants to come to the United States, feel free. Anybody in America in the United States who wants to move to Canada, feel free. Had we done that, the North American Free Trade Agreement, the NAFTA countries would look very much like the Eurozone. Excuse me, the European Union. And this is, frankly, I don't think the European Union is going to stand either. Because specifically because of that immigration problem, but also because of it's a free trade area. So what is happening is that people from the poorer countries in the European Union are moving to the countries that are richer. In some cases, they're moving to those countries because they get better welfare benefits, or better unemployment benefits, or a better social safety net, free health care, things like that. And I'm not talking about moochers. I mean people who are moving to these wealthier countries and working. But the quality of life is better in the richer countries. The infrastructure is better, the public transportation, you can get to work, all these kind of things. Okay, so it's causing that problem. And the poorer countries, many of the poorer countries of the European Union, tend to be in the southern part of Europe. And of course, there's a lot of immigrants coming into there as well, and they tend to have darker skin, and they're moving north. And what this is doing in the lily white countries of the very far north part of the European Union is that it's producing backlash, a racist backlash, a nativist backlash that is of anti-immigrant sentiment. And so you've got these parties that are emerging that are essentially reinventions of the old Nazi party, these nationalist parties that are saying, hey, no, German for Germany, right? Germany for Germans, excuse me. Then on top of the European Union, you've got the Eurozone. The Eurozone is a subset of the European Union countries. Not all the European Union countries use the euro. For example, England, the United Kingdom. It's part of the European Union. If you live in Hungary, you can move to, or Poland, you can move to the United Kingdom. You don't need a visa. You can start working there. In fact, when there was a big movement in the United Kingdom against being part of the European Union, there was this famous ad called the Polish plumber, right, who's coming in and basically stealing jobs from British plumbers. So you got that, but then there's the countries that have decided to use the euro. And obviously Greece is one of those countries. They're using the euro. Now, how would this play out in the United States? Here's the difference. This is why the European Union and why the Eurozone, I believe, are doomed to fail, and probably fail in a pretty bad way. In the United States, think of California as Germany. For every dollar that California sends to the federal government last year, for every dollar that they sent to the federal government, they got 68 cents back. This is like Germany funding Greece, right? Because for every dollar that Mississippi sent to the federal government last year, they got $1.99 back. In the year before that, they got $2.42 back. The year before that, they got $3.41 back from the federal government. The year before that, they got $4.38 back from the federal government. Now, some of that had to do with remediation as a consequence of the big blowout in the Gulf. Several of the Gulf states were getting a lot of federal aid as a result of this. But really, mostly it does not, because you can go back to before that time, back to 2008, and Mississippi was getting back $1.56 from the federal government for every dollar that they sent. But you don't hear Americans, you don't hear Californians saying, those damn Mississippians, they need to start practicing austerity. They need to raise their taxes and cut their spending and stop providing federal benefits to their people so that we don't have to support them anymore. You don't hear that happening here. And the reason why is because we are all one country, and these are just individual states. Whereas in the Eurozone, Greece and Germany are separate countries with separate constituencies and separate citizens. And so the Germans, you know, for every dollar that they send into the Eurozone, they might be getting 80 cents back. And the Greeks, for every dollar they send into the Eurozone, they might be getting $3 back. There are no numbers to make these kinds of comparisons that I've been able to find. But it's sort of like this. And the difference between Mississippi and California, that comparison, and the Greece and Germany comparison, is that Mississippi and California are both part of this thing called the United States, and there's benefits for all. And Greece and Germany are not both part of the same nation. They share a currency, but they don't share sovereignty. And that is a prescription for disaster. This is why, Schäuble, the German finance minister, is saying, well, maybe Greece should leave the Eurozone. The Eurozone is basically Germany reinventing the Deutschmark as the euro and getting a whole bunch of European countries to buy into it. Germany now runs Europe. They have functionally won World War II. Or much of Europe, shall we say. And they did it not with guns and soldiers the way Hitler wanted to. They did it with banksters. They did it with loans. They did it by controlling currency and money and regulation. So these are important distinctions that Americans need to understand in order to be able to understand the news coming out of Europe. And I guarantee you the news is going to get worse and worse and worse as the years go on in all these regards, because it's just an unsustainable system.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
They would either have to do like the United States did after the Civil War and say, no, we're going to have a strong federal government, a strong European Union, and no sovereignty for the states.